hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and I praise you never have the discomfort of having something lodged in your ear. It feels like I'm pulling a bullet out of my ear for the last couple days. But you know, speaking of discomfort, ladies and gentlemen, I pray and thank God every day that I'm not a Team Fortress 2 player. You know why? Because they need to basically make petitions of 200,000 people signing just to try and get the attention of one of the largest video gaming companies in the world. Now, to give you an idea, I'm a Rainbow Six Siege player, so I have my own problems with Ubisoft, how they handle their game, how they basically turned one of the biggest competitive shooter shopping malls, with the game attached to it, into something with subscription services or whatnot. But this isn't a video about me crying about Rainbow Six. This is a video about me talking about Team Fortress. Now, throughout the years on my internet career here, I've talked about Valve extensively. I've talked about the time where they've had remote code exploits basically shown to the wild at times, and I've talked about the Team Fortress 2 botting problem, okay? For those of you who don't know, this game has basically been hijacked by bots, okay? Bots that are to the point where they destroy anybody's experience into this game whatsoever. Now, to give full context and history, Team Fortress is one of Valve's premier actual multiplayer games, okay? If you want to tabulate all of Valve's multiplayer offerings, you've got Counter-Strike, okay? And Counter-Strike is so massive that they have 1 million players playing as of 10 minutes ago, not during peak hours, by the way. This is when people are supposed to be working. They still got 1 million people because everyone all over the world plays this game. It's one of the most streamed games on the internet, a massive competitive shooter, a massive esport, and a game that has probably one of the most massive third-party marketplaces for weapon skins in general. I challenge you to find many games that give you options of buying an M4A1S Blue Phosphor for $820, okay? That is the suggested price, $820. Well, suggested is $969. This is 15% off of that price. And of course, knives alone cost $2,903. I'm not joking with you when I'm buying my mom, I bought her a nice knife, a cooking knife that cost less than some of these knives that are for a digital game, okay? Insane stuff here. So obviously, the reason why these knives cost so much is because of the player base and because this is one of the most popular games online. Some people don't even care about playing Counter-Strike as much as unboxing the cases that are within the game, effectively turning a competitive shooter into a fucking slot machine simulator. Now again, no disrespect to anybody that enjoys it. Whatever your fetish is in gaming, I completely 100% support it, okay? Want to play some Candy Crush? Be my guest. Want to play some Clash of Clans? Cock that shit up, boy. But ladies and gentlemen, there's other games. They've got Dota 2, Left 4 Dead 2, which is technically multiplayer, although being somebody that plays Left 4 Dead pretty extensively on their Steam Deck, I doubt we're ever going to get a third game, okay? But to understand, ladies and gentlemen, Valve makes a lot of money, okay? And to the point where it's actually inconceivable how much money they make. They're selling the Steam Deck like hotcakes. Counter-Strike makes a load of cash. Dota makes a load of cash. Valve makes so much money through their own storefront, Steam, that they don't really have to worry about making other games. Why bother at this point? In fact, the only time they make really big games is when they're just experimenting with things like VR, like when they're making Half-Life Alyx. Team Fortress 2 literally makes no money, in my opinion, for something like Valve, for a company like Valve, to the point where even with 83,000 people playing 12 minutes ago, and you might be like, whoa, Muda, that's a lot. Here's the thing. A lot of those numbers are unfortunately bots. Now, Team Fortress is one of Valve's most premier online shooter games, or at least it was. It came out way back in the day, I believe as a mod. Team Fortress, the original, looked far different than what we have with Team Fortress 2, but TF2 is, without a doubt, one of the more, I guess you could say is the originator. The whole franchise basically started the hero shooter trend, where you basically have like multiple different character class types and you're supposed to be taking over points or completing objectives while working together and synergizing with other teammates using your various class abilities. So whether you can run really fast but you basically take no damage, or you're basically the tank, or you effectively play as a spy that can deceive other players, you're supposed to be synergizing, working together as a team to basically be completing objectives. Now, Team Fortress 2 at one point was even paid. Like, you see this right here? This is the orange box. If anybody's got their orange boxes, I want you to dig them out and hold them high in the air. I remember buying this just to play Half-Life finally and actually, like, experience the game because I didn't have a PC at the time that could run the Half-Life 2 source engine. And of course, Team Fortress 2 came along as the multiplayer release. They weren't even bundling this with Counter-Strike. They were selling TF2 as their new landmark online shooter. And for a while, it's great. This version is so unpatched that it's completely different from the version we have now. Now, fast forward to 2024. The bot epidemic is so bad that if you sign into Team Fortress 2 right now, even if you're just recording footage like me for this stuff, just to see how bad things are, connecting to any server on the internet, even ones with maybe 1 or 2 players, sometimes no players at all, effectively causes other users to log into your session. Now, at first, you might think, oh, this is cool. This is some random person connecting. Maybe I might get a full game. Maybe I might get to experience what Team Fortress is all about. No, that is actually a bot that logs in. And what this bot does is effectively aimbots you to no end. So imagine for a second, okay, to give you a good comparison. Let's say you're playing a game of Rainbow Six Siege, right? Or Call of Duty. The match just begins. You take 2 steps out of your entry safe zone and get shot right in the head. You never basically get to play the game, go to the objective, ever encounter another player without getting shot directly to the head. That is the experience of the casual Team Fortress 2 player, not even the competitive one. The casual player literally has to experience it. Now, you could imagine what this does to a gaming community when the majority of your new player base logs in, gets insta-fucked in the ass, and thinks, wow, I've only got 24 hours in a day. Maybe I'll just uninstall this piece of shit and install Overwatch 2, God forbid, X-Defiant, any other game. There's a whole bunch of them these days. And it's through this shitty perception of the game, and it's through these scumbag botters, that the entire community of Team Fortress 2 is now dwindling down, and the community, while they've been basically begging Valve to do something about this, Valve has only just acknowledged the problem. Back in May 26, 2022, when I talked about this, they said, hey, we notice it, okay? We hear you. We love the game and know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and are working to improve things. They didn't fucking do a thing, okay? Even though that I posted full nipples to respond to them, okay? They did not do a goddamn thing. And it's to a point where every year it almost is like a community gaming tradition to basically trend and talk about how Team Fortress 2 is in the worst state it's ever been. Now, this is the actual website over here where it's Save TF2 or Fix TF2. 204,000 people have signed this petition, and basically the entire thing is they said the aimbot's gotta go. For the past 5 years, TF2 has basically become unplayable. The game's official servers have been overrun by hordes of cheating aimbots, like I just described. The lack of developer interference has thrown the game into a state of turmoil with seemingly no end in sight. Now, some would say, well, Muda, don't they make Counter-Strike and Dota 2? Why don't they have bot problems? Why can't they bring the magic sauce that those games have to Team Fortress 2? And look, development is complicated. The reality is, I don't think Valve is putting any programmers onto Team Fortress 2, simply because I don't think the monetary incentive is really there for them, okay? Counter-Strike and Dota make a lot of fucking money, okay? They're one of the landmark things keeping Valve very relevant and very afloat. Team Fortress 2, aside from the community that we're talking about, in the grand scheme of things, Valve probably is determined it's not worth even bothering putting the money into. And it sounds shitty, especially from people that at one point most likely even bought the game themselves. So anyways, the game has a bot crisis. Valve knows what it is, but they have basically focused on other actual ventures, leaving TF2 with inefficient support in its grave time of need. From the outside, Valve appears to be more concerned with generating millions in revenue every month via in-game microtransactions rather than maintaining a product that should work as expected. And to give an idea, the microtransactions do actually exist in Team Fortress 2 as well. Like, there is money that is generated from this game. Obviously, maybe it's not enough money for Valve to truly care, but I would say that any money generated definitely deserves a cost for Valve to step up the security and the reliability of said game. If people are spending money on a product that you officially keep alive to this day, then you should be putting in the due diligence to make sure that product is at least functioning for the player base. A multiplayer game that is not functioning means you are actually putting out a game that has nobody working, that has no functionality anymore, okay? A game that literally does not allow you to properly play it, and you officially maintain it to this day, is a problem on Valve, not the consumer base, okay? Valve needs to fix this shit ASAP. I would think that this might not even be legal from certain perspectives, but then again, big companies and legality, you get the point. Nothing really goes out. All we can really do is raise a stink and hope that Gabe or somebody at the team over there at Valve decides to respond in a meaningful way. So what they've said is the aimbots are programmed to join casual servers en masse, insta-killing and kicking innocent players, intent on ruining their in-game experience. The behavior is where most of the community's resentment stems from. However, many are unaware that the problem goes far beyond simply trolling and cheating. The bot hosters are malicious actors, using their aimbots as a vessel to endlessly attack and harass community members. They abuse the in-game text and voice chats and spread the most vile hate speech imaginable, while simultaneously advertising their bot immunity service. Sorry, I'm just thinking the whole chat is like 4chan or like soyjack.party or something. It's like... It's probably gotta... Thankfully, I haven't seen it during recording, but it's gotta be the filthiest chat if they're describing it this way. Goddamn. In an attempt to scam the players desperately looking for a solution, they've used the same means to dox people's personal information and broadcast it against the player base's will. Bot hosters have gone even so far as to commit actual crimes, such as using AI voice modifiers to impersonate and slander non-consenting parties, launching persistent DDoS attacks, and have even swatted one of their most ardent critics. There should be a zero-tolerance policy relating to this kind of conduct, and I 100% agree. See, it starts off in a very simple manner where somebody goes and downloads a piece of tool on GitHub, freely available, and I'm not going to leak this information and talk about it or give you a name, but the idea is these hooks exist, and effectively people download these freely accessible tools. They basically generate virtual machines. They run these tools underneath those virtual machines, these JavaScripts, these bots, these tools, and effectively with stolen Steam accounts, or because the game is free to play, they can then just start invading servers like crazy and ruining experiences. It's not difficult to do any of this, and it's so frowned upon that even people in known cheating servers or cheating forums literally will say, you don't because you're an awful human being if you do, and you should reconsider life choices. Dog, if other cheaters are saying this, you are committing a serious fucking sin in this situation. Hosting bots are for pedos. Reconsider quickly, little bro. This person's like, running bots is bad, and then you gotta censor their signature because it's more offensive stuff, dude. You can't make up the internet sometimes, dude. You don't. That's for sociopaths. So one document that I saw floating around that actually pretty much gives a comprehensive 23-page view in this situation really talks about some of the more dangerous people in this bot situation, or those that go as far as to dox and swat people that go and try to go against things like botting. So one of the individuals right over here is Mega Scatter Bomb introducing themselves. This will feature the testimony of Mega Scatter Bomb, a TF2 YouTuber who's been harassed by bot hosters for the past year. So he says, I'm a TF2 YouTuber, have been fighting the bots and cheaters for a few years now. In the time, I've learned a lot about how they function and some potential mitigations. But even with my background in software engineering, there's only so much that can be done without the involvement of Valve. True, they're the ones that host the game and control the backend. It's up to Valve to truly make a dent. I thought I'd share my knowledge and experience here to put on the record what atrocities have occurred due to Valve's negligence. Hopefully, you guys will be able to hold them to account for what's happened. But even if we don't get the desired response, what I have to say here will put a permanent stain on their reputation. So when they talk about aimbots, the problem is it's only in casual mode. Unfortunately, this is the game's most popular and most easy accessible mode. Unlike community servers that are community driven with their own moderators and anti-cheats, casual mode servers are entirely moderated by Valve, and the only moderation Valve has in place is Valve anti-cheat, which is ineffective at stopping cheating. The cheats the bot uses bypass VAC entirely, so they have no chance of being banned by Valve unless they take a more active role in stopping the bot problem. Bot hosters typically use virtual machines to run multiple copies of TF2 side by side. Each VM has its own Steam account and copy of Team Fortress 2, and they all run the same cheats. So where they described the swatting to mega scatter bomb, they actually talked about the situation, thankfully and ended peacefully, and the logout involved. So what they said is the worst they've ever done is when they swatted me. Sometime last year, I had 2 police officers knock at my door at 11 looking for me. Thankfully, I live in New Zealand, so they didn't do a full-on Osama bin Laden's type raid with SWAT teams and tear gas. They suspected me of making a bomb threat towards my university. Earlier that day, someone had made a bomb threat under my real name and posted said threat in some of the student-run Discord servers. This was quickly escalated to police, and the university was partially evacuated. I explained the situation with the bot hosters and cheaters, and eventually the investigation into the bomb threat broadened to cover all the other things I had dealt with. I can't go into further details for obvious reasons, but the investigation is ongoing. I'm usually capable of managing the stress associated with all this, but I've had my fair share of low points. It's tough knowing there's a group of people out there dedicated to making my life as miserable as possible. So yes, the problem with some of these people is not so much that they're annoying and trolling people on the internet, it's when they start doing swattings. Remember, people have died during actual swattings. This is not to be taken lightly. I personally think if you swat somebody, you should basically be charged with attempted murder, okay? You should absolutely have that sentence. You should absolutely have that charge put against you. Because when you're sending heavily armed operators to somebody's house, regardless of where they live, there's a chance, or at least the implication, that you want something to happen in that entire scenario where the person you are swatting, unfortunately, ends up seriously injured or potentially dead. So yeah, this is a really fucked up situation, and this just scratches the surface of this community. So why is it that botters do this kind of shit? And it's literally just for attention. They love videos like this, but ultimately I think attention is a good thing because it will raise more awareness to Valve. Valve, if you're not actually stopping this behavior, you're fucking facilitating it, okay? Either you completely shut down Team Fortress 2 as a game and prevent this from happening in casual environments, which is obviously something nobody wants, or you step in and use some of the money you've generated with sales on Steam, the fucking Steam Deck, everything to at least counter a problem, a very serious problem on the situation. Look, I've bitched about Grand Theft Auto Online for less. Okay, that was a game where connecting to it without a VPN was exposing my IP all the time, causing me to get fucking DDoS'd whenever I was live streaming. This is way worse than whatever I was getting on GTA, and at least Rockstar fixed their game right there, okay? Why is Valve not stepping in when they've got multiple revenue streams that could subsidize this behavior? It would generate just so much more goodwill for literally nothing. And of course, all the community is doing right now is basically spreading their awareness through the hashtag FixTF2 on various social media services out there. So again, that's pretty much all anybody can do. Look, as a video gamer, as somebody that's covered Team Fortress to an extent, even if I'm not a Team Fortress YouTuber, I still remember reading through some wild Team Fortress creepypastas, and it's still a part of the gaming community. Me being in the gaming community, I like all experiences good. Even if I don't play Team Fortress 2 every day, the last thing I want is this game to absolutely not be killed by cheating scumbags. There is still a massive community of people that love this game. And for them to be losing it because Valve chooses to literally not even acknowledge that they have a massive, serious cheating problem is something that is absolutely blowing me away. Valve, do better, okay? Seriously, fix your goddamn game. Because it's not just trolling. It's getting to the point where some of these motherfuckers are doxing and swatting people, even criticizing them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.